Let me start by telling you guys a quick story. So, I was sitting in a free block with one of my friends, and as all teenagers do, we were deeply engulfed in a philosophical, boundary breaking discussion. And she asks me, Aairah, what would you do if you were immortal? And I said, scratch that. Let me ask you something instead. So, let's say you can have any meal every day for the rest of your life. What meal would you pick? Let's take pasta as an example. So now let's say you have to eat pasta every day for breakfast, every day for lunch, and every day for dinner. That and nothing else. Well, at first it might not seem like such a bad thing, but how would you feel after a month, after 2 months, after a year of eating the same thing over and over again? What's the value of something when we have it all the time? That's what I'm here to discuss today. But it's not about food, it's about our own lives. And that is why I believe that immortality is pointless. Death is a very heavy topic, and it's never an easy thing to digest, especially when it happens to the people that we care about most. Yet, it is an inevitable part of life, and it is an important part in the circle of life. In a book called The Denial of Death by Ernest Brewer, he talks about how being aware of death makes influences human behavior and also helps us live life more authentically and in a more fulfilling way. This leads me to my next point. I think death is what drives us to be grateful. It teaches us that our time is limited and that we should use it to our best advantage. You know how when you want to start a new habit, like let's take going to the gym, for example. So people always tell themselves that, oh, I'll start on Monday or I'll start tomorrow, and you never end up actually doing it. Exactly my point. If we think about how much time we as humans have as compared to the endless time and space of the universe, our short time here on Earth should help us realize that we don't live forever and that we should use our time wisely and rationally. To quote Arthur Schopenhauer, mostly it is the loss that teaches us the worth of things. It wasn't easy for me to come to this realization. I've always been a person with multiple interests. As I said, I struggled to find the one thing that I wanted to do, and I've been planning my whole life trajectory since I was a child. But only recently did I realize that just planning is not enough. I spent all of 2020 to 2022 goal setting and making vision boards and doing all that, but I just realized that there's no point unless you don't set it into action. It's so easy to lose track of time or waste time when you think you have so much of it, but the truth is that we don't have so much of it. And that is a reminder that day by day we are only getting older, and you should use your time while you have it. And thus, a reminder that you, when you have something you want to do, you should do what you need to do to get there. What are your goals? Where do you want to be, and what do you need to do to get there? Linking back to immortality, it may seem like an elusive ideal for many because it seems like you'd have forever and onwards to achieve the things that you want to do. But the truth is that I think it's just an excuse for being lazy. Perhaps it's the pressure and the set expectations that everyone at a young age is supposed to be super successful. At least for me on social media, my feed is flooded with people like 19-year-olds that are sharing their success stories of how they made it as a teenager, where they own 2 startups, they founded an NGO, or they're investing in mutual funds. Of course, all this is great. However, being a teenager myself, none of this is particularly motivating, and rather it has quite the opposite effect. That's why I think that it's easier for us to say that we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, meaning that we'll only put in the effort when push really comes to shove. But this is exactly why I think that immortality would lead us to achieve absolutely nothing. I know a lot of people that don't like to plan things in advance, and I understand why. It seems like going with the flow and just accepting things as they come would be an easier way to live. Because it is. But if I'm being honest, I can't help but disagree because I think that humans have so much potential to do such great things. If you put your mind to something, you set a goal and you follow through. And that includes all of you as well. You might be scared to do something because you feel like you can't do it or because you don't have time. But that's simply just a fixed mindset. You should push yourself to set goals, plan ahead, and follow through with them. And that's the only efficient way to make some real measurable progress. This is why, linking back to my previous point, we should acknowledge that maybe having less time isn't such a bad thing because that's what makes us value it and that's what makes us spend it with intention. So I want you to ask yourself, would the absence of death truly enhance our lives? Would removing the pressure of limited time make us happier or just more lazy? Being attached to every single day is what gives it meaning. And that's what makes us see the value of wholeheartedly living, not just existing. You wouldn't enjoy going to that concert if you knew that there'd be hundreds more. You wouldn't enjoy celebrating your birthday if you knew there'd be an endless amount of them. So every occasion that you considered special would no longer hold as much value. So, putting everything that's been discussed today into perspective with our own lives, I hope you walk away feeling inspired to break some of your own boundaries. So, eat that pasta, go to the gym, and do whatever it is you set your mind to. Thank you.